Too close for missiles? I'm switching to guns. Hi, Ben here from Trident Fly Fishing. I've got with me the all-new Sage Maverick, which is Sage's brand new mid-priced saltwater-specific rod. It replaces the very popular Motive in Sage's lineup, and we're really excited to see how it performs. Another thing that's really interesting about the Maverick is the timing of the release. Normally, Sage releases rods in June, just in time for the ICAST show. But since the fly fishing industry is no longer going to ICAST, they decided to switch things up a bit and release this in December, which actually makes a lot more sense for a saltwater rod, because you're going to be fishing it typically in the winter when you're traveling to those great destinations. We've had some sort of mixed opinions about Sage's saltwater rods recently, but I'm really excited and hopeful that this Maverick is going to turn that around. But before we get out and cast it, I'm going to walk you through this rod like we always do. Starting at the bottom, you can tell that this Maverick is 100% Sage. It's got a very familiar fighting butt and a very familiar reel seat. It's pretty much what you're going to see on any Sage rod. Not a lot to talk about there. When you get to the grip, it's got the standard full wells grip, but this one's actually a little bit thicker than the grip on the Salt HD or the Sage X or something like that. So if you have really small hands, might not be for you. If you have bigger hands, you're probably really going to like it. Then as we get to the blank, again, all Sage. It's this nice sort of not quite navy blue blank. I really think it's a handsome looking rod. And of course, standard hard chrome stripping and snake guides. Again, classic Sage. But the story of this rod is definitely not in the componentry. It's in how it performs. So we're going to take it down to Florida and show you how it casts. Starting at 40 feet, the new Sage Maverick performed really well. I was impressed with its accuracy at the short distance. It's definitely going to make a great wading bonefish rod, and it's clear that this is, while mid-priced, still a very high performance rod. As we move back to 60 feet, you can also tell that it isn't quite the highest performing rod. It's not quite as accurate as rods like the Scott Meridian, the Scott Sector, and the really absolute top-notch saltwater rods. That said, it's also got a $500 price point, so again, it's not really fair to compare it. But as we compare it to the Orvis Recon 2, at the first two distances, it's not quite as good as that Recon 2, but one thing that the Maverick has in spades over not only the Recon 2, but virtually any other mid-priced rod is swing weight. And the Maverick is way lighter. In fact, it's lighter than the Salt HD. Go figure. Back at 80 feet, we really struggled with that Recon 2, but had no issues at all with the Maverick. It's got way more progressive power, and you'll have no problem at that longer distance. Overall, I was really impressed with the Maverick, and I think it's probably the best mid-price saltwater rod out there right now. It's got everything you want, and you can fish it from stripers back home and all the way to bonefish on the flats. Well done, Sage. In terms of an action, it's definitely a fast action rod, but not super, super fast. Really what you'd want and expect from saltwater rods these days. Now it's time for our Poseidon Score. Starting with accuracy, the Maverick is accurate across a range of distances, but it's not super, super accurate. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. In terms of componentry, this is pretty standard here for Sage, and definitely not going to impress anybody. It's going to be a 7 out of 10. Distance and power, the Maverick is actually good and really good compared to a lot of the other saltwater rods in this price range. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The grip is nice, but also a little bit specialized and not going to fit everybody's hand. I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. In terms of looks and workmanship, this is just like any other Sage, and we're going to give it a 7 out of 10. In terms of swing weight, this is where I think the Maverick shines, particularly in its price range. At 84.5, it's really a lot lighter than rods like the T&T Zone or even the new Orvis Recon 2. And I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for swing weight. In terms of value, the Maverick is a great rod at the $500 price point. You get the Sage brand recognition and it really performs well across the range. And so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for value. In terms of cool factor, the Maverick is pretty good. It comes from a great company, and they released it at a different time of year, so it's definitely achieved some buzz, but it's not a super high profile rod in the Sage lineup either. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. And that leaves us with a total Poseidon score of 62.5, which is actually our highest Sage score to date. And that makes sense because this is a great rod at a great price. The all-new Sage Maverick retails for $550 and is available with free shipping from tridentflyfishing.com. If you have questions about the Maverick or any rod in the Sage lineup, give us a call at 888-413-5211 or email us 24/7 at support@tridentflyfishing.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up in the box below. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.